Think of qi like a relay race. A system doesn't usually fail everywhere all at once. It stalls at the interface, the exact point where one phase fails to pass its functional mandate to the next. To identify these interfaces, we can translate the 5 phases of traditional Chinese medicine into the mechanics of a car engine. This provides a concrete checklist for what is otherwise an abstract theory. Earth is the fuel tank, generating usable postnatal qi from what we consume. Water is the battery, storing the deepest reserves and holding that potential energy until the system needs it. Wood acts as the fuel lines, distributing that energy. Metal is the timing belt and brakes, keeping the flow regulated and within boundaries. And fire is the accelerator, commanding the drive and propulsion of the whole system. We can map these engine components directly onto the pulse. The fingers resting at the kun position monitor the fire and metal layers. The guan position tracks earth and wood. And the qi position, at the base, monitors the water. By mapping these engine functions to the pulse, we look past the symptoms and start identifying where the mechanical failure actually sits in the network. Identifying the roadblock requires a sequential assessment. We look across 3 depths: superficial, middle, and deep, asking a specific diagnostic question at each site. Step 1 focuses on the guan. We ask, is qi present? A healthy earth phase shows a full, resilient wave. But a thin, flat line here suggests the fuel tank is empty. Qi production itself is insufficient. Step 2 moves to the deep layer of the qi. Is qi rooted? A steady, deep wave means the battery is holding a charge. If that wave floats to the surface and becomes inaccessible at the bottom, the qi is unbanked. Step 3 monitors the left guan. Is qi moving smoothly? Emotional constraint often shows as a sharp, wiry spike. The energy is there, but the fuel lines are pinched, preventing the qi from spreading. These are the foundational checkpoints. If a roadblock exists in the fuel tank or the battery, any strength felt elsewhere in the pulse is usually just energy borrowed from the core. Step 4 moves to the superficial, right kun. Is qi regulated? This is metal's role. A chaotic, slippery overflow here isn't a sign of extra energy. It's a sign that the timing belt has snapped and the system has lost its boundaries. Step 5 checks the fire phase at the kun. Is qi driven or burnt? When the frequency of the pulse increases while the depth and substance shrink, fire is pathologically consuming the fuel. Consider this scenario. A patient has a chaotic, slippery right kun, the metal overflow, but also a soft, empty guan. Which do you prioritize? Earth is the priority. You cannot effectively regulate or unblock the flow of a system if the origin point isn't generating fuel. This sequence establishes a hierarchy. You must address generation first, then distribution, and finally regulation and command. We can condense these steps into a diagnostic flowchart to help isolate the primary roadblock. Step 1 is to check continuity across all 3 positions. Any sudden break in the wave suggests a woodblock. Step 2 compares speed versus depth. If speed outpaces depth, look for a fire consumption block. If the pulse is deep but slow, look to the water storage. Step 3 checks for symmetry. If the left wrist feels significantly different than the right at the same position, it points towards an isolated wood or metal fault. Step 4 looks for borrowing. If the upper pulse feels strong while the guan is empty, the system is likely masking an earth block by drawing on its reserves. This table combines the 5 phases with their specific pulse signatures and mechanical roles. You may want to screenshot this as a reference for your next clinical assessment. Mastering this sequence changes how you interact with the pulse. It moves the focus from cataloging symptoms to identifying the specific phase where the flow of qi stops moving forward.